This is the AI News Flash for August 7th, 6 a.m. UTC. First up, ByteDance. The owner of TikTok has begun pre-training a massive AI model with 10 trillion parameters. The Financial Times broke the story and Reuters followed. That scale would slightly exceed Anthropic's latest flagship, Mythos 5, estimated at around 8 trillion parameters. It is more than 3 times the size of Moonshot AI's Kimi K3, which runs at 2.8 trillion. Pre-training typically takes 3 to 6 months, followed by fine-tuning, so a release is unlikely before late this year. ByteDance has not officially confirmed the parameter count. What stands out is that Chinese labs are now matching US frontier labs head-on in declared model scale. Direct comparison remains difficult because OpenAI and Anthropic do not publish parameter counts, but the picture of Chinese firms compressing their development cycles is unmistakable. ByteDance already runs its Doubao assistant with 145 million daily active users and is pushing hard on both model scale and compute infrastructure. Second, Chinese humanoid robot maker Unitree Robotics has finalized its listing price, valuing the company at 60.99 billion yuan, roughly $9 billion. It becomes mainland China's first publicly listed humanoid robot company. The offer price was 150.8 yuan per share, with 40.45 million new shares issued, raising 6.1 billion yuan, far above the initial 4.2 billion yuan target. The striking part is how far the price climbed. When book building opened on the 5th, the indicative price was around 104 yuan per share, implying a valuation near 40 billion yuan, about $5.9 billion. The shareholder roster is equally unusual. DeepSeek invested 141 million yuan and agreed to jointly develop AI models and embodied intelligence technology with Unitree. Also on the list are Tencent, China National Petroleum, China Southern Power Grid, China Telecom, CITIC Securities, and the National Council for Social Security Fund. The key point is that a frontier AI lab and a robot manufacturer are now bound together at the capital level. It is a vertical integration of software-side reasoning and hardware-side embodiment, a distinctly Chinese structure that differs from the American model pursued by Tesla's Optimus or Figure AI. China is said to host more than 140 humanoid robot companies and over 330 models controlling roughly 90% of the global market. This listing now sets the valuation benchmark for the entire embodied AI sector. The third, Microsoft has open-sourced Code Testing Generator, an agent that automatically writes unit tests under the MIT license. It is available in the .NET/Skills repository. Across 152 tasks, it completed 92.1%, or 140 tasks. Stock GitHub Copilot managed 78.9%, 120 tasks, meaning failures dropped by 63%. The agent is especially strong on vague instructions, scoring 88.8% against 66.3%, with detailed prompts both landed at 96.8%, essentially even. The critical point is that both used identical models and identical prompts. The performance gap comes not from model capability, but from agent design that analyzes the repository and plans before acting. The system runs a 3-stage research plan implement pipeline, auto-detecting the language and test framework from existing code, choosing among direct, single-pass, and iterative strategies, and validating through 5 checks including mutation testing concepts. On 45 .NET tasks, Claude Opus completed 43, well above 35 for the stock configuration. It generated 2.3% fewer tests while holding coverage at 72.4% and ran 5.5% faster. Fourth, a New Mexico court has ordered Meta to pay an additional $567 million, combined with March's $375 million civil penalty. Total penalties now reach $942 million. Judge Brian Beedscheid found in the second phase of trial that Meta created a public nuisance, and the additional sum goes into an abatement fund. The judge compared Meta's platforms to factories, saying the harmful effects migrate to the internet as a whole, and perhaps most concerning, to the real world. A March jury had already found violations of state consumer protection law, with child exploitation and safety failures at the center of the case. The mandated safety measures are specific. Private by staley default settings for Instagram users under 18. Facebook friend requests for minors limited to other minors. No push notifications from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. and from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on school days. A 90-hour monthly usage cap across both platforms. Hidden like counts for minors. and adults barred from messaging unconnected underage users. Notably, the order did not mandate changes to the algorithm itself, despite plaintiff arguments about harmful feedback loops, and WhatsApp was excluded. It shows a legal framework for platform design liability taking shape, while judicial intervention into recommendation algorithms still faces a wall. Fifth, Microchip Technology reported first quarter fiscal 2027 results, showing data center revenue up 97.8% year over year, close to double. Total net sales came in at $1.485 billion, up 13.2% sequentially and 38% year over year. Non-GAAP earnings were 76 cents per diluted share, 7 cents above the guidance midpoint. Data center exposure was roughly $591 million in calendar 2025 and is projected at about $1 billion for calendar 2026, growth of roughly 69%. The company logged 14 design wins, 12 on its Gen 6 switch and 2 on the Gen 6 retimer, with the Gen 6 switch entering production at the end of June. Non-GAAP gross margin was 63.8%, including $38.5 million in underutilization charges. Operating margin was 35.1%, and adjusted EBITDA $587.8 million. The September quarter guidance calls for sales up 8% sequentially, gross margin of 66 to 67%, and earnings of 91 to 95 cents. CEO Steve Sanghi pointed to significant data center growth, an aerospace and defense buildup, and AI penetrating industrial applications, saying this upturn could run longer than a typical cycle. It is evidence that AI demand is spreading beyond GPUs and high bandwidth memory into the broader base of microcontrollers and analog chips. That's all for this AI news flash.